they have been in a bit of a slump for quite a few months now. So it's going to be interesting to see which of the teams is going to be able to overcome that and get into the grand final, because this is the semi-final and kind of the expected grand final actually coming into this event.
Yeah, the whole Dignitas going through and beating Envious put us in this position. Of course, they definitely deserve to be in the semi-finals. They 2-0'd Envious on 2 of their best maps, which is still an utter shock to the system. And Dignitas, of course, will be facing off against CLG later, who just upset G2. The odds were heavily in favour. I think in some places like 75 to 25 in favour of G2. But CLG, JDM in particular, I think he's such an underrated AWPer. He is phenomenal. Came good, as we can just see the knife round going underway. Again, on Cash, it's not the end of the world if you lose the knife round. Both teams are pretty even overall.
Kenny is actually being smart in this one. It is expected, though, for Astralis to, for the winning team to win the, to pick the CT side after winning the knife round. Although we actually I do remember Envious picking the T side, especially against NIP. I feel like at some of the previous events, but it is again, it's not a one-sided map, not even close. Actually, none of the maps are very one-sided as of this moment. Which Kenny is actually kind of forfeiting that round by headshotting both players. Oh well.
Full tilt, my friend, is always with you. That's what I was saying yesterday for G2.
It reminds me of the Hiko against Olaf Meister and a couple more players from Fnatic. I'm not sure if you remember that from ESL Yesterday Pro League, I believe, in Burbank. That was at the end of last year, of course, and we saw a little bit of top kek banter coming out of Hiko. And
there's been quite a lot of top kit banter so far this tournament, I think it's safe to say.
That's true.
We've had Circles today, we've had Bob Ross having an appearance, paint me like one of your French girls.
That's not
in
Bob
the first
Ross,
game. I wish it was Bob Ross.
Oh,
that would have been sick. Paint happy little trees.
You're talking about the circles.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, okay.
Maybe some people don't remember, but I was watching this morning, I was like, what? There's circles around every player, every single round. What is going on? I don't think we've seen enough circles for today, boys.
Don't say that out loud, please.
Sure, I shouldn't tempt fate.
But actually, I do believe that NATO is actually observing this game.
Yes.
So
he's a hero, by the way. He hasn't ate anything the entire day. I believe he's gone straight from a best of 3 into the observing role. So NATO, if you can hear us, we send you love. You are the man, indeed. Looks like we are going to get underway here, Striker, in the first round between Astralis and Envious in the semi-finals of the GEC tournament. Again, hello to you lovely people in the cinema.
Hello indeed.
How are you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing good.
Well, it would be great to have camera in that audience, just to see how passionate these Lithuanian guys are. As we can see, 3 players from Envious picking up the Kevlar while having a bit of utility on MBK and Apex. A couple of smokes, a flash, and we can see that it is going to be a B push.
Certainly is. Astralis do go looking. dupreeh will bag himself a death, unfortunately, for Astralis. That puts a lot of pressure on the shoulders of cajunb, but he comes good for the 1 frag, can't do anything else. Karrigan's there off the site with the USP. The 1-tap potential is a very real threat from this kind of angle and this distance. The Envious have a decision to make. They have a smoke and a flashbang. Are they going to isolate him from the rest of his team? That seems to be the case. The smoke actually going out to Checkered. Well, that's interesting. I feel like that hurts Envious more than anything else.
It is going to be the B push, though.
Yeah, they decided to come in afterwards. I suppose the idea was to keep Karrigan guessing. I thought we'd see the smoke landing on upper or lower, try and isolate the rest of his team from him, but obviously a lot of respect shown across to Karrigan. Bomb planted from Envious. Kenny down to 8 HP. Other 2 teammates are alive and kicking and very healthy indeed. Zipex and Device, what do you have in store for us? Can you land any headshots? Yes, they can. Zipex with 2, looking for a 3rd as well. Apex is there, finally gets the upper hand. But now here comes Device. The clutch is on. And Zipex, what the hell was that? 2 flick headshots. Wow. And look at Envious, they look gutted.
I just wanted to leave that for you before saying Zipex, the clutch god. And look at that. 2 1-shots. Pretty much a 180 as well. Wow. Look at that.
Beast
This
mode
first
engaged.
one, it's actually not a one-shot, but the second one. And he managed to stay alive there. And actually inflict some damage as well, allowing his teammate Device, I think it was, to actually finish off the round in that 1v1.
Huge plays. Envious had a decision. They wanted to save up for the AKs in the next round. They elected to do just that. Kenny S, the only player who is running with the hand cannon of the Deagle. Rest of the team pretty much for P250s. No flashes, no smokes. Just the one SMG on the side of Astralis. For some reason I thought the masses were UMPs. Just scrubcasted things, you can hashtag that. But judging from this weaponry, Astralis should have no issues. The only way that they end up losing this round is if Kenny S can put bullets to faces. Otherwise they should be slipping away from Envious.
Definitely, especially if they don't have the vests. They just don't have the equipment to be anywhere near favored going into this round. It is obviously about the first picks also. Well, we can see Astralis actually have really good positions. They have a Device on the CT, on pretty much on the CT spawn, waiting for more information.
Here comes the charge. Unfortunately, it's right into the bullets of dupreeh, who's able to relocate. Device comes good for his teammate, and it's almost a clean sweep. Only cajunb will fall to the hands of Happy. Again, no, not expecting much from that round, Envious. AKs are imminent. They should be able to have full AKs up. The question is, they want to prioritize utility over the firepower of an AK. The answer for MBK and Kyo is yes. This does afford them 2 more smokes and 4 more flashbangs.
It is definitely very important on cache to have enough smokes, especially for the A bomb side. On the B bomb side, you pretty much need at least 2, and maybe a couple of Molotovs if you do want to go from Toxic. But we actually see Envious taking over the mid, which is going to allow them to gain some more information.
Big round for Astralis to hold on to. This is a telling round as well. How are they feeling? Testing their arm almost. 2 for masses. Karrigan's down to 22, however. Opting to go for the aggressive rather than the defensive play with this low HP. It's not an angle you really expect anyone to be in from Envious's perspective. I tell you what, judging from their movement, they could walk right into the trap. The noose potentially about to get tightened around the neck of Envious. And Happy, he's going to take him down anyway, just making sure, being safe. Better safe than sorry, and Karrigan can't do much about that. There is information gathered, though, from Astralis that at least 2 players were spotted on their way over onto A, and Happy is going to just completely destroy Device. There's nothing he could do. Astralis have crumbled, bomb planted, and I believe they're just going to be happy to try and save these 2 weapons from this point. There's nothing else they can really hope for.
They definitely should. They didn't lose too many guns, so they should be able to buy, or at least maybe be able to force buy decently. As I said, they didn't even have that many SMGs. I believe that was a UMP, but it is going to depend on them actually saving these 2 guns.
If they want any kind of buy-up next round, that's definitely the case. cajunb holding on to his weapon for now, doesn't take too much damage. Here comes the next contestant, and Kiyoshima has met the same fate.
This isn't great for Envious, though. I don't think going for that for cajunb on the CT spawn was a good idea, especially if they basically went one by one. And Apex didn't even have the HP to try and challenge as well. So Envious, again, pretty much on no money, but at the same time, Device and company as well. They do actually afford the op, which is a little surprising to me, but then again, they didn't lose that many guns in the previous rounds, and I do believe it was a UMP as well. This is going to be on Device once again, at least to survive and maybe get a 1 kill for that retake to be possible. But he actually moves into the site.
2 players on forklift. Device is going to have a quick peek, nice flick shot onto Kiyoshima. And cajunb, good guy, comes round the back and will keep Device alive so he can focus his attention over onto Squeaky. That being said, Happy comes in with 3 AK headshots. You cannot be serious. Surely after this kind of a start, they can't pull it back. Envious, in the form of Happy, comes up with 4. We said before, he needs to step up. And that round was as single-handed as you'd like.
the second in a row as well. He got the first 2 kills in the previous one as well. We saw him going up against Karrigan in that squeaky before, picking up that one, even though he wasn't very favored going into that duel. And then even Device inside, and now 4 kills for Happy. So definitely a question answered. Happy in his form. It doesn't look like the rest of the tournament affected him, at least not so far in the first 4 rounds. And dupreeh is going to be holding on to his gun, it looks like. Astralis will not be able to buy, actually. They will only have maybe about 2,000 each. Yeah, 2,000 each, a little bit over on a couple of players, but definitely no buy. But they should save fully, pretty much, to be able to buy in the next round. And we can see a CZ, I think, a couple of CZs on the Envious, on the Astralis players, and a couple of T250s, so they will be buying in the next round. But dupreeh still can deal a lot of damage here.
He certainly can. If Envious walk into him, he could certainly bring this back for Astralis, but certainly on paper, Envious should be picking this round up and they should be moving on in the lead. Happy with 4 crazy frags. They say the big players step up to the big games. It doesn't get much bigger than this. A LAN semi-finals against Astralis, one of the best teams in the world. Let's see if he's going to continue to punish Astralis for their mistakes. dupreeh with the only AK-47.
It is very slow, though.
It is a very slow round. Oh my goodness. Zipmix, go check your ankles, doctor, bro. That looks like you broke both of them. That'll look painful. dupreeh is going to put the only AK to work. I was about to say, he is over on the A side. So if Envious were to push out, then that could play into his advantages. And he's got himself a second kill as well. The bomb, however, is maneuvering itself over onto B. And that leaves cajunb with it all to do. He's got 2 HP left. Can he pick anything off? No. Kiyoshima is going to get himself his first frag of the map thus far. And now dupreeh has the arduous task of trying to retake this 1 versus 2. The bomb hasn't been planted just yet, but it will momentarily. dupreeh says, screw this, I'm going to push right through the smoke and try and catch Envious off guard. Oh, Kiyoshima actually goes down. A 1-on-1.
This is so smart from Apex. Look at that. He's actually going through CT spawn to A, but dupreeh actually knows that. He noticed, or at least heard Apex.
These mind games.
This could be huge. This could be huge, depending on where Envious... where
He's taken way too long to plant, but dupreeh misses his chance. The time's still ticking down, however. Apex will get another bite of the apple and puts the bomb down. This has been a comedy of errors. Apex first missed the plant spot, then nearly got punished, but here we go. For 1 versus 1, and dupreeh lands the headshot, making amends for that previous whiff. Picks the AWP up, and Astralis will have their 3rd round. And so coming into this round, we said it's an AK plus 4 pistols, and Astralis have taken it home.
My heart is pumping. You could see both players going really fast on the rotation. dupreeh smart enough to realize he was going to the A site, and he was there so fast. Missing that first shot was a bit of a mistake, but actually waiting for Apex, he read that situation so well. And 4 kills in that round. We said that he had a chance to deal damage, and he did just that. He did even more.
What's that little mind game though? 25 seconds to go. Deciding to go for the rotation on Apex to A. But the instant call from dupreeh, 1 step ahead of him. Already read the script. A couple pages ahead. Envious bouncing back with another potential A execute. 2 Tech 9s. These weapons certainly are more than a handful to contend with over on A when the flashes and the smokes are put into place. That flashbang is absolutely beautiful. You can see it hit 3 players square in the face, but MBK is with the Tech 9. Just as we're saying, it's a very powerful weapon in the right hands. He puts it to good use, converts it to the M4. And now Astralis looking to be on retake duty once again. Happy will land the first kill. That's brutal for Envious. The bomb is now dropped away from Happy. He's an A main though. Device looking in there. He has no utility to burst out of A main with, so it's going to have to be raw AK headshots you have to feel. 23 HP left for him. He's got a lot of time to play with if he so chooses.
And Device knows that he actually tagged him because he switches to these 3 and he's at 75. Fairly easy for them and smart to stick together. And he actually peaked at the same time as his teammates, so communication going well for Astralis, which is a very good sign. On cash, which we said they are not very favored on.
Yeah, coming into this, Astralis aren't like the worst cash team or anything, but Envious are just that damn good. So you assume that Envious will have this one fairly convincingly, and we already spoke about the importance of picking this up because Astralis over onto overpass would heavily favour. Envious have looked anything but solid on overpass these last few days. It is going to be Tech-9s and Kevlar. The half buys, they can get AKs next round. Here come the smokes again. A bit predictable maybe for Astralis, but that's really only half the issue. Because we did see NBK using that Tech-9 to very strong effect and taking it down to a 2-on-2 scenario at the end. And the bomb's been planted cleanly, but now Astralis still have plenty of utility to play with. They have the upper hand in terms of weaponry, and they have a player now traversing around the back, which is going to be dupreeh. And there we go, connects the first shot onto Happy. Information gathered, but now Envious have to be careful about their back because the flank is real from dupreeh. And you have to feel that the trap is now being sprung. Envious only have NBK all by his lonesome. He's getting tagged. NBK with a P250 shot, but he is going to be silenced from cajunb. Envious will concede the round, but all things considered, Tech-9 Kevlars to get a bomb plant and 3 kills, job done.
Yeah, first start to give up that site was actually a good idea, though. They obviously are the favorite team to win the retake, considering the buy coming out of Envious. Definitely very good for them to even plant the bomb, let alone come that close to even winning the round. And we can see that it actually allows them to buy, even though it is not ideal. We can see one Tech-9 and pretty much only smokes. Only 3 smokes, only Apex on full utility as the Tech-9 player. So he's going to be throwing those nades, depending on where Envious end up going.
And so dupreeh had the best spawn to have a quick cheeky peek out of B, realizing no one was there. Traded across the AWP for the M4 with Device. And now Device will be over on B by himself. This allows Astralis to get more mid-control. This makes Envious's task that much more difficult now to get information, to get any real estate on cash.
Looks like a mid retake, but Astralis actually have dupreeh here in vents and one more player in at sandbags.
Yeah, Molotov thrown into vents. It's a fairly standard molly. You see pretty much every team using this. The idea is to funnel the CTs into more advantageous positions. KennyS has put himself to play behind sandbags, but the Molotov kills NBK, who did sacrifice his life beforehand. Apex now steps up and delivers a frag onto cajunb. Device and Zipnik's the last 2 players. They are isolated from one another. The decision now is, do we just push together or do we hold on to our sites? Because the chance of stopping a 1 versus 4 push with an AWP, very, very low. It would be more of a mistake from Envious than a sick play from Device, you'd have to feel.
Envious are still not very sure where they're going to go. Oh, now they're actually moving into the B site. And Zipex is actually moving there as well. So this could be interesting.
Shima is the first of all. This is what I'm talking about. You want to plow together rather than just 1 by 1. Zipnex now is going to be looking for the spray down. Can't get it done. KennyS steps up. Apex was down to 5. Envious have finally broken the curse. It was 3 rounds in a row up until that point. And you can see what that does to Astralis' economy.
Yeah, it was a little too bad from Device to actually die on that site after that first pick, since he did have Zipex coming out from highway, and he potentially could have waited a little bit longer. But I can see why he wanted to do. He wanted to make it 2v2 as opposed to a 3v2 Kenny has.
Ooh, Kenny, wow. Hello.
It's still it is an eco though. It's obviously a bad buy from Astralis. They are going to buy in the next round though. I do not believe it's going to be a good buy. They should have just enough to buy a few rifles and maybe a little bit of utility. KennyS. He comes alive as well.
He does. There's so many players on the map because these 2 teams are right at the very top of Counter-Strike. So many players on their day can just take the game and drag it away from the enemy. Envious have had a few moments of brilliance, but so have Astralis. And I agree. I'm very curious to see what kind of buy we can expect from next round. Now, if dupreeh can save that AK-47, that definitely goes some way to bridge the gap that they're looking for. But so much time left, and Envious will know that they want to save the AK, and they will hunt for this.
Actually, he doesn't. He actually does transfer to the B site.
Okay.
But I think he will, yeah, he's going to CT spawn, so he will actually try to save it.
It's a smart play.
Definitely the smartest play that he can do right now. There's no point trying to take guns from NVS without a vest as well. And he is...
I really like this idea as well. cajunb picks the deagle up and he realizes, okay, if we both sit here, the chances are we both die. If I go looking and try and create a diversion and fake as if we're somewhere else, maybe then dupreeh can keep on to the AK-47. But now...
Exactly.
It's a feeling of him against the world. But fortunately, it seems NVS, they bought the bait. They're going everywhere but CT spawn.
Yeah, cajunb stalled out the timer a little bit. I do think they will expect dupreeh everywhere else, but not CT spawn, since he did pick up the AK towards Squeaky. But yeah, great from him to actually be able to save it, because now that should mean that it would allow one more player to have a little bit more utility. They actually do have an AWP, yeah.
An AWP because of that AK save. The AWP was dropped from dupreeh to his teammate of Device. So you can see the importance of one weapon.
That's great for Astralis, exactly. Yeah, Device being able to pick up the AWP, he needs to do wonders with it, though. As we saw that on the B site, he only picked up one, which would normally be a pretty good, a pretty solid result from him, but not in those situations. And he also always ends up being the only one on the A side or the B side, depending on the advancement of the situation. So he is very important to at least pick up a frag and stay alive as long as possible. Device is a very important player for Astralis on this map.
Astralis have taken very aggressive stances in mid. Two players there, both Karrigan and cajunb. But there's the issue. The first brick came crumbling down. What is this wall made of? Is it rotting? Karrigan with 2. He then feels the force himself. There's still a 3-on-3. Astralis can certainly keep this alive. cajunb invents in a pretty solid position, but he has to play it right. If he goes in too aggressively, he will very likely die quickly. But he is going to catch Apex unaware. Finally finishes that one off. That was a real sketchy frag for a few moments, but now he has to be careful because he's about to get flanked from Happy, who's now coming through vent. They're going to go for the flash into the peak from Happy, but he gets flashed in return. Meanwhile, the bomb is still ticking down, and Happy will land the headshot, doming cajunb. Here goes Kiyashima, and it's all on Xyp9x again. The clutch king from yesterday. Can he strike? No, he can't. Happy just about survives with a slither of health left.
That low money meant that Astralis were actually not able to buy a diffuse kit. I'm not sure if they had at least one. I would imagine so, but Xyp9x wasn't anywhere near it, and he understood that he had no chance but to save that weapon once he didn't get the frag on Happy. But again, Happy being the important player in this round, being able to make it a 2v2 and then winning the last 1v1. That Molotov on the bomb was super smart. And that's how NVS usually set up, right? They just use Happy to flank, and Astralis need to take care of that.
Absolutely. There's a couple of moments, key moments. cajunb first with a kill as he dropped down, and then Happy was looking like he was going to peek a bit prematurely as the flashbangs both connected into checkered, but just about playing it to perfection. Astralis, after that force, now find themselves on upgraded pistols. Only Kevlar and Xyp9x, the rest of the team, is pretty much naked.
This weapon, again, could deal some damage here, especially if it looks like NVS are going into the A site.
It appears so. Smoke is going to allow him to move to the site safely, but up until Karrigan's there, and you can see that Happy went off by himself. No one else was there. So that is another weapon gift wrapped across to Astralis, and that goes into the hands of the only Kevlar'd up player of Xyp9x. So this is quickly starting to get a bit precarious for NVS, a round that you'd really think they'd walk away with. Device is in the perfect position to spray MBK and has been tagged down to 29. Here comes the smokes, here comes the retaliation, and now the strat has maybe been given away, although NVS are not pushing in right afterwards. They have the time to rotate, but it's going to be cutting it so close, and that seems to be the case because the Astralis are having none of this. They still have dupreeh over here pushing an aggressive position with the P250, and cajunb with his CZ is in charge. dupreeh from behind is going to waste valuable time here for Astralis. They have to be careful he doesn't push behind. cajunb with a CZ could have been the man, the myth, the legend, but Device now comes through. 7 seconds, and look where the bomb's been dropped. This has gone horribly wrong. This is a disaster for Envious. They're not going to be able to take this round. And Astralis again, with a bargain bucket buy-up, somehow make it work.
Wow. Astralis just banking on that Happy push. The problem is Happy actually, I think he tried to go for information and see if there's a stack there, but he actually only found Karrigan, who killed him pretty much with a one-shot from sight. I don't think he saw that Zipex was there. So after a while, Envious stalled the timer and didn't have enough time. And Astralis just made the perfect rotation. That's the problem. Giving up picks against an eco is not the greatest thing to do.
Oh, it's Happy, wasn't it? Just running out by himself.
Yeah, exactly. Happy basically ran out of Squeaky, ran into Karrigan, who killed him, and he didn't even get any information for it. He had no idea about how many players were actually there, because Zipex with that weapon was actually on highway and completely missed him. So absolutely no information gained from Happy. A little bit of a mistake from him, and actually costed them a gun.
Yes, though, can you hear the AWP ring out, that beautiful sound, unless you happen to be dupreeh. And then it is the stuff of nightmares, because he is the player that has been vanquished just for the next minute or so. Around 12, beautiful peek from Karrigan, double spray down. And nothing really Envious could do about that. It was perfectly timed. They were not expecting it. Typically, if you're going to pop flash, it's way before then, a good 20 seconds prior for the information. What a fantastic call from Astralis, turning this round on its head.
Usually that peek actually doesn't work just because you have one player behind that box, but this time, as you said, perfect timing.
Device has also decided to open his account. And with just half a minute to go, the bomb has been dropped outside of A main. It's all on Happy. He's got the AWP, but really nothing else going in his favor. And he's been sprayed. And an AWP from Device. So another solid hole from Astralis, only losing one player, which was dupreeh, right off the start of the round.
I'm not sure what Knies was doing there. We could see him actually jumping around, not really covering anything, trying to get out of main. But then the flash came in, and both players got caught out. And I think both actually got flashed. So Karrigan, again, perfect timing with that flash. And as I said, usually it doesn't work. We actually, at this tournament, almost every time, at least when I was casting, I saw somebody trying to go for that peak with the pop flash. It usually doesn't work because you have that one player behind that box. This time, it was well timed.
Yeah, I can't even be mad at Envious for that. They just weren't expecting it. It was just fantastic play from Astralis. Karrigan getting the pixel perfect spray as well. Definitely didn't hurt matters for the Danes.
And this is a pretty much an eco from Envious. So we are most likely going to see an 8-5 start for Astralis, which is very good on the CT side. It's already enough pretty much for them to be satisfied,
especially against Envious. Of course, they'll be greedy. Greed is good in Counter-Strike, and they'll want more than the 8 rounds. That's if they even get to it, though. You can't write Envious off with this kind of weaponry. We know they are pistol demons, and especially in these kind of situations. But of course, as I say that, dupreeh with his double, cajunb also adding the notches on his belt, and that just leaves Happy again in a 1 versus 4. But this time, he doesn't have the Kevlar, he doesn't have the AWP. He's got a P250 and absolutely nothing else.
Yeah, pretty much so far, Envious has been out-rotated by Astralis. We just have the better timing on everything. We saw that pop flash, that dupreeh 1v1 towards the end when Astralis had actually only an eco, and that was basically just him rotating very well. They just do seem like they do read Envious very well on this map, at least so far. It is an 8-5 scoreline. And Envious don't have, well, they do have a good enough buy. They don't have an AWP though, so Knies will be a little bit sad about that.
I feel like the fact that they do have 5 smokes though suggests that an execute with AKs is actually in some way stronger if you can't get that pick. And Karrigan this time mixes it up. He goes for a peak 40 seconds prior to when he did last time. The problem is that he's been avenge fragged, and therefore that 1 versus 1 trade will actually favour the terrorists in this situation. So Envious now, they've got the early slight advantage, but can they capitalise on this? Can they make the most of it? Can they convert it into an all-important 6th round? Not if Zipnex has something to do about it on Forklift. He's still holding his position. NVS have so much time to play with. They could easily mind game 2 or 3 times, re-rotate multiple times as well. Try and keep Astralis' head spinning. It appears a decision has been made and the green light has been lit. Kiyashima, headshot onto Zipnex, and here comes the charge. The cavalry going straight into the site. cajunb is the only player to answer back, to retort onto the Frenchman. And he is still alive, but only just at 42 HP. A couple AK shots will end his life. The damage is being inflicted, and meanwhile, Kenny S and Apex are taking a bunch here through quad. dupreeh is going to come through highway to help his teammate out. He should be going in for this. Defuse kits on both players. They'd love a HE. They'd love an incendiary at this point to throw on quad. But that's not going to happen. cajunb connects the shot. They now know where Kenny is. The question is the crossfire going to be down? It's not even required because Kenny S. No scope dome onto cajunb. Sit down, son. NVS are going to pick that round up.
It did look a little bit dangerous for NVS there. I'm not sure if it was all a Molotov or if actually Epic got tagged through that smoke.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch it, but they were taking like
definitely
damage over time, right?
A little bit of a Molotov damage, but I think Apex actually got tagged. I'm hoping these this bit of a hiccup that we are seeing cannot be seen on stream. We are a bit laggy. But yeah, Astralis are just so strong on the A side just because of the rotation that they have. They usually have 3 players there, but just because of that trade, the initial trade where Karrigan traded himself for one of the NVS players, that made the difference. Only 2 players were there for Astralis, and that's just not enough when you have all those smokes coming out from NVS.
Here we go, last round of this half. Can NVS bring us back to pretty much an even half, or is it going to go out of control for Astralis? Well, that being said, 9-6 isn't out of control just yet. NVS could still very comfortably pull it back. Karrigan, here comes another pop flash. This time it's very interesting as well. NVS have got a player right behind box while the other one peeks to make sure they both don't get flashbanged, and that double frag doesn't come in again. So Karrigan, consistently getting the kill, or at least doing serious damage, is falling down nonetheless. NVS, ooh, that cheeky dink onto Zipnex through the door. Definitely going to smart for him. But NVS have taken casualties themselves, and Kenny S and Apex both sub 50 HP. This is a pretty big frag right here. And it's going to go to cajunb. I was going to say, if that kill goes for Apex, it allows them to then start to maneuver themselves into 3 separate directions. A 3-pronged attack may be too much for Zipnex to deal with. That smoke kind of helps him to an extent because he got flashed, so it gives him sanctuary behind there. And screens the initial charge. Kenny S is going to get the frag. Some questions may be asked of cajunb from Zipnex, but there's only 12 seconds left. Can cajunb pull it off? Yes, he can, and Astralis will take that 9-6 scoreline. If Astralis can get this pissed in the subsequent 2 rounds afterwards at 12-6, they are looking very pretty indeed. Especially as NVS, known for sometimes going for force buys out of desperation. On the CT side of cash, that can really come back to hurt you. So, anyway, we've waffled on for long enough, ladies and gents. We are live into the second half. And it would appear that Astralis, with their couple smokes, are going to be executing onto the A site, where the only player even remotely close is happy just yet now.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be able to do anything here.
They're playing for the retake, but they don't have any defuse kits. I suppose if it changes the bomb time, it's not the end of the world, however. Yeah. Here comes the charge. Smokes connecting. Right now, Kenny S is coming around from behind. A very quick flank, so Karrigan's going to need to be careful because he's going to have 2 or 3 players in his face very shortly. The bomb has been planted now. Kiyashima needs to step up big. He at least gets 1 kill. Kenny S is there, and now it's all on dupreeh. On quad, a very lonely, claustrophobic environment for him, and happy. Just jumping up, lands the headshot, and a big pistol round has been taken by NVS.
Yeah, definitely. That flank by 2 players from NVS was really important, because Astralis actually had 2 players there, but they managed to take care of both of them. So suddenly that's 1 angle down, and the rest of NVS's players actually only have to figure out where the players in sight are. As the forklift player actually went down quite early on. A smart flank from NVS, definitely a smart plan. I was a little bit surprised by that defuse kit though. But as you said, the timers, they are a little bit more forgiving on the retakes now. Not even a little bit, it's just Not only a little bit, I mean, it actually makes a whole lot of difference.
And we can see a strat that Astralis have used many times in the past. Device says, give me that AK, bros. I don't want to just be the raid boss.
Yeah, this time, actually, when we were talking about this before, cajunb was the only one to have the vest and the AK, a soul vest and the AK. This time, we actually do see a P250 and a deagle with a vest as well, which makes much more sense to me. Like this, they actually do have a shot at opening up rounds and managing to at least deal some damage, and they will still be able to buy on the fourth round.
It may include a Tech 9 or a deagle or something like that, but it's still going to be a healthy buy. So Astralis, the idea here is to put all the eggs in the basket of just getting some entries from Device or indeed dupreeh, the 2-star players for their team. And so far it hasn't quite gone to plan, but those two weapons are still in play. I spoke too soon. It's now all on dupreeh with the deagle. He's going to get put in his place, and Karrigan is going to get his mitts on the MP9. But it doesn't matter, because Envious are there to pick up their 8th round.
It is very important for that, either that deagle or the AK to actually pick up an entry frag. Otherwise, the whole round just falls apart.
Indeed.
And Envious didn't give them the chance to pick one up. So, as we said, this is going to be a little bit of a shoddy buy from Astralis. 1 Tech 9 and a vest. Not too much utility at all. It looks like it could be something fast, and we can see middle actually.
Yep, very fast push, but Apex is up to the challenge. Of course, Astralis are known for doing this, so it's not going to catch Envious off guard. It's just a case of having more power in the earlier rounds. But again, it's a similar kind of scenario as well, though, Striker. You're hoping to get that early pick, otherwise things go south because you don't have the utility to play the longer game. And losing the first play, you can see how much utility Envious still have. So many nades, and including an incendiary in the hands of Happy. So unless Astralis can burst out of mid, and it's probably not going to go their way. Apex could be the linchpin. He's just still hiding in connector, making sure no pesky terrorists get up round the back of his teammates.
It's all going to be on Kiyoshima and his teammate in the site, which is Kenny S. As Apex is actually not moving, so it is going to be pretty much a 4v2 on the B side.
It's a smoke, not a flashbang that kind of forced Astralis to turn their backs as they rushed on through, and the spray, the meat grinder, has been placed down. In fairness to Astralis, though, they do answer back with 2 kills. But that's not good enough. They were hoping for a lot more out of that round. It was a full commitment. And Envious have passed with flying colours, just lose 2 players, so you can see their economy is still in a place. They can replenish those weapons without any issues, including Kenny S now with an AWP.
Yeah, we can see Kiyoshima actually picking up a weapon, a rifle. Before, yeah, he only had the MP9. On the other hand, Astralis are pretty much giving up this 19th round to Envious, as they have almost no buy. 1 deagle, 3 P250s, absolutely no utility. So just looking to maybe get a pick once again, and maybe work off of that.
cajunb. 84 HP. Vanishes in the blink of an eye, as is the rest of Astralis. dupreeh, only good news for him, I guess, is he has the bomb. Everything else, though, is stacked against him. So just a kill would probably be mission accomplished as far as he's concerned.
Apex feels dupreeh right
Spider
there.
sense of the Chamberlain line.
Yeah. As I said, 10-9 to Envious actually now. Really important for them to pick up the previous rifle, the first gun round. So they are actually in the driving seat, especially in terms of economy. You can see 8,000 on 2 players, almost 3 players actually, while the other 2 have at least 2K. So they will not be in money problems anytime soon, which is going to be obviously very important for them, while Astralis is still looking for that first round on the T side. But it is going to take them a long time before they can actually break them, at least the next 2 gun rounds.
Indeed, Envious have a good relationship with their bank at this point in time. And Astralis will be hoping to wheel and deal a stock exchange and see if they can do something about that. Happy and dupreeh exchange kills. Envious are going to hold on again. Well, have I spoke too soon? The bulk of that A defense has been ripped on down, but cajunb's in a position where he could strike. He's been flashbanged, has to pull back to highway box. Does Kiyoshima even expect this? He's running.
He doesn't know.
cajunb can just peek round. They'll line up for him. No, Kiyoshima then turns back around again and picks the frag up. That could have been the key moment. Now dupreeh at the back of the site on quad. The Molotov forces him to the right-hand side, lands the headshot, 66 HP, still alive.
This is dangerous.
Very dangerous. It's going to be hard for him to clutch this, but it's not impossible. And by the way, with already 3 frags, he's on for his ace as well. So this would be a phenomenal round if dupreeh can pluck it out of thin air. Bomb planted. That was the next tick, the next hurdle to navigate yourself over. But the spray from Kiyashima, who's been eerily quiet so far in this game, finally steps up. And Astralis will concede yet another round. And that will be 5 in a row. They have yet to get around on their T side. Please don't get Cloud9 syndrome.
Yeah, hopefully they don't. But they do have a really good buy right now, thanks to that plant. They even have an op, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw one popping up there. Yeah, Device will be getting that op, I would say. I would imagine so. Yes, exactly. Device not on his greatest game so far. 8 to 14. So he will definitely be looking to improve on that and maybe get a pick somewhere with the op. And it looks like he's actually going towards KNS here.
In fairness to Astralis, although they have lost the last 5 rounds, they have been close a number of times. They have been testing, prodding, probing Envious, looking for weaknesses. So far, Envious, in credit to them, although they have been under fire and certainly stressed, have held up just fine.
So far, very slow from Astralis, actually. Taking their time, giving Device a chance to have a pick somewhere. I think he actually went on the box. I think he got boosted on the box in middle, but he will not be seeing anyone there. So that at least that's a bit of information. So still very slow from Astralis. They are not very sure where they're going to go. It looks like a mid take, maybe like a split A. At least that's what I would expect, judging from the positions of Astralis.
So if they were to pull a trigger and execute right now, it would effectively be a 5 versus 2.
This is interesting because we can see 2 players actually behind Sweeky.
Indeed. It's very much a B-centric defense from Envious. MBK, last player in main. And he can't stop the bomb from being planted. But can he come around the side and help the rest of his team to retake the site? That's now the next question. And it's going to be answered very shortly. KNS playing Overwatch, watching the back from Highway, hoping that someone has a quick cheeky jump and see if he can put them down. Device holding the close angle from Firetruck, from Forklift, apologies. And MBK is going to be spraying down with 2 kills of his own. Great retake so far, but then Karrigan steps up, delivering 2 kills. Make that 3 and a 4th! Karrigan comes up huge for Astralis.
I really thought that they were going to lose that round, just because they had no idea MBK was there in main. All of them were turned before a player actually flanked. I think going from Squeaky and flanking from team main actually, but they had no idea somebody was behind them. So I was sure Andreas was gonna run away with another round, but Karrigan, oh my god.
Also no idea where I said Firetruck. I'm pretty sure there are no calls in the entirety of CS. Call Firetruck, yeah, instead of
Did you mean
Forklift.
Forklift? Oh, okay.
I'm a bit special today. Just a little bit.
Disgraceful.
Just a lot. Again, hashtag just scrubcaster things. I will accept every one of that delicious flame posts. Either way, Astralis, after breaking the curse, have completely been ripped to pieces from Envious the very next round. That's the key thing. You have to keep momentum going. It's all well and good getting the 1 round, but you need to break that economy by consistent rounds.
Exactly. On the other hand, they are looking at a really bad economy, especially since they only survived with 2 players in that last round. So they still can turn this over and try to make something of this round.
Still doable, of course. They do at least have a bit of mid-control and have decisions to make with the smoke isolating Apex from pushing through Connector.
We can see that NBS really like to play from inside the site.
They certainly do. 2 players back there. With a 3rd in hot pursuit. Well, I didn't even have a chance to say what happened because everybody just died. Brilliant.
It's very good from NVS to actually have both guys inside the site for rounds like these, because when you're in advantage, You don't want only a single player on the B side with one potentially being somewhere near middle, just a rotating guy. So kind of an insurance policy with Apex helping out in case there are incoming Danes. So I really like the setup from NVS in that position.
Oh dear. Running one by one, Conga lining their way to death, although you do get the return kill. The Glock headshot is real from Karrigan. And the problem is that the firepower is so much to deal with. Zipnik's, well, that's the live bomb. It's next to be no hope, and he's being sprayed through a wall just for good measure. Happy wants to drink the tears of Zipnik's, it would seem. Kill him in the most troll scumbag way possible. Now Happy's actually going to steal it, so get wrecked.
Yeah, there's nothing Zipix could have done that. And as we said, the economical situation pretty much meant that the buy was really not good, and it is not very good now either. 2 AKs, a lot of utility though, so there's a potential for an actual execute from Astralis, and they do need to adjust. And it looks like it's going to be a fast play towards B. Actually, we have 4 players coming that direction.
I have 3 Molotovs as well, so we definitely could watch for a push into Sunroom, see if they can Molotov over, try and push Envious into scary positions.
We could actually see Zipex kind of playing a distraction.
The issue with this strat, though, is if Kenny S manages to get a pick like that,
it falls apart.
What do you do? Like, it's very hard. This is the Molotov I'm talking about, but now they're pushing in weakened. Kenny S can just relocate to the back of the site, and because they lost the previous kills, and Kenny S is just going absolutely bananas now. They don't have the extra Molotovs to force Envious out of the site. That's the whole point of the strat to start off with. So now it just sits the device. Kenny S with 3 sick frags. And device living on a prayer. At least he's got Happy. I can't believe I just quoted a John Bon Jovi song by accident, by the way.
Wow.
Can't stand him.
Really?
Yeah,
you don't like
not
him?
a fan.
Oh, okay.
I said it, and I immediately regretted my actions. Immediately regretted it. Pauses came in from Astralis. Clearly it's a tactical one.
It did take them quite a lot of time. I would expect it to come about 2 rounds earlier, because they did only get 1 round on the T site so far, while NVS are actually sitting at 8 currently. So I would expect it to come a little bit sooner. And they definitely have a lot to talk about, because they haven't been able to even enter sites in the last few rounds. They're just giving up picks right now. We could see Kenny S just getting a free pick pretty much. And that's a problem, especially against an opera like Kenny S. He will take those opportunities. We saw that a really good flick, that 3rd one. I really like that shot.
And just a stat for you as well, Striker. We've currently had 9 rounds on this half. 1 of them has been won from Astralis.
Yep.
Just the 1.
Yep.
And as you say, the vast majority of the time, they're barely getting onto the site. Like, their corpses are getting onto the site, but they're not. And so it's been a consistent issue. They've had the most luck on A with their set plays and just charging on through, but the retakes when they have got onto the site, which has been rare at best, Envious have just walked on there and got the kills where it's required. And the 1 round that Astralis did pick up, by the way, Karrigan went massive with 4 kills.
Exactly.
And if he doesn't have that huge play, there's 0 rounds right now for Astralis.
They really need somebody to step up, because team-wise, it has not been working out.
Force buy.
Yeah, it is. I would say it is a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, kind of required, because if Envious, obviously, if you eco this round, Envious get a 15th round, you've got 5 map points. So go for broke now. The tactical timeout was purely with the basis, like, what are we going to do, guys?
Yeah.
Where can we go? They've gone for 3 Molotovs, 3 smokes, and 4 flashbangs. So it'll be very interesting to see which side they end up pushing. Of course, with this utility, either site is definitely a possibility.
We are in game, though, so hopefully we're going to hop on.
Cameraman, please. Let's not miss any of the action. As much as I like watching Cash, I prefer watching action. There we go.
Nice.
There we go. Event.
It is still very slow from Astralis, though. No fast push whatsoever. Not even trying to go for picks. But this time they actually forced Kenny S out, which is good. Finally, an adaptation from
absolutely
the Danes. What was
Kiyoshima's
that?
still there. He's still perched up on top of his nest. And dupreeh didn't even check it. They assumed that no one else would be there. Kiyoshima with 2. And there's the importance of checking every corner. Very rough round for Astralis. you said it completely hit the nail on the head. They forced KennyS out of position. That was in itself a positive, but they weren't able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, they didn't expect Kiyoshima to be there at all. So even after that great adoption, KennyS with another pick, there's no way out from this round.
Well, Device is at least going to take one player down with him. 10 HP left.
Ouch.
I thought that was a HE.
Yeah, exactly. I actually saw it as an HE, so come on, Device.
Device is a ballsy man. Big cojones going back in. If that had just spread a tiny bit more, he could have ended up dying in a very awkward way. But there's KennyS with the Tech 9. As expected, Astralis will concede the round. And now 26th could very well be the final round. It's going to see Astralis on a poor force buy with Tech 9s. Is it next may go for a Galil? I'm not sure if they want the extra firepower. It can go Galil and armor.
Yeah, potentially could. I think he's thinking about it, but no, he actually does pick up the Tech 9 and a lot of utility. So let's see what Astralis actually can come up with, and if somebody can step up like Zipek did against G2, I believe, in the group stage. Because this is a very similar situation, a very bad buy in a very key round.
True that. Let's see how this execute's going to play. So again, it's going to be on a happy through the smoke. I think that was Karrigan with a drive-by double Tech 9 headshot. Make it a third as well. Envious have just been completely destroyed. However, let's contextualize this. 3 sick frags. It's a 3-on-2 retake. All of Astralis have poor weaponry and very low HP, but Device is going to dome KennyS, and that leaves Kiyoshima in a 1 versus 3. Spinning around, can't get it done, and Astralis, that's 1 out of 5. 4 more to go.
Yesterday it was Zipek, this time it is Karrigan.
What a beast.
3 super huge frags, 3 entries into the A site, that's huge. That's so important, and now, if Astralis end up taking this map, or at least taking it to overtime, NVS is going to be kicking themselves, and NVS are going to be thinking about what G2 did yesterday, because it was 11-4 yesterday when Zipek had that 1v3, and now we had a very similar situation, but this time KennyS actually does pick up the first frag on Device.
Indeed he will. And importantly for Envious, he retains, I should say, all of his health.
But Apex ended up falling down, which is
he did.
Which is better for the T side, as I said numerous times before. This spreads the defense thin, and that means there's going to be only 2 players on each side. It actually does seem like NVS expected B push here. As we see 2 players towards B and 1 in middle.
And going back to what you said, that's typically why I'd always say that a 1-4 trade will favor terrorists.
Yep.
Not just in the sense that it forces the CTs to then spread thinner, but also economically speaking as well. It costs more to replenish a full CT bite than it does a T. That being said, as I'm speaking, second frag has came down, and a third as well. cajunb.
This is going to be on MBK.
This is completely on MBK, absolutely, because his teammate's still on B. Kiyoshima has not moved. MBK will get 1. That's not good enough. And now Kiyoshima has a decision whether he wants to retake. Now, their economy's in a place where they could buy it next round, but this M4 would certainly help matters, because right now, before this round ends, Happy only has $950. So I feel like you play the slow, steady, safe approach. You don't throw away this M4, you don't throw away the equipment value that you currently possess, and it looks like Kiyoshima agrees with that statement, and he is going to hide in Sunroom.
Yeah, it is going to help their economy going forward, which is important for them. They could end up buying maybe 1 more round if Astralis actually keep on going. Still they have 3 rounds, like a cushion of 3 rounds, which is still enough for them to close this map. But we saw Astralis that just took up everything they could from that 1v3 from Zipex, and this could actually fire them up because they will break NVS in case they do win this round.
Well, as we said before, it's a confidence-based game, right? Astralis is starting to build their confidence. Envious is starting to lose their confidence. So we're starting to see the seesaw of Counter-Strike maybe start to tip in Astralis' favor a tiny bit. Envious, you saw before at the start of this round, easy buy-up. However, if they lose this, you're looking at a potential force or eco. It's not going to be a healthy buy, whatever happens.
Yeah, definitely not. We see again that that middle take from Astralis. But previously we haven't seen them use it very well before. And it looks like Apex will not try anything in middle. He's just going to stay passive as usual. He is here, as I said, as the rotator, who's going to help on A or B depending on where Astralis end up going. They just do stick those 2 players inside the B site almost every round.
Yeah,
which is obviously strong if Astralis end up going into the B site, but it can be what backfires when it is the A push.
The only time that we've seen Envious mix up is when Kenny S peeks from checkered.
Yep.
He goes for that fast peek and then he relocates either to upper or just straight back to mid. So now with both these players with their feet stuck well and truly in the ground and firm, at the back of the site is not enough. cajunb has just romped onto the site. 2 kills for him. MBK and Happy very likely will just say, for the reason I mentioned before.
They definitely have to.
Because their economy's poor and this may afford them a better buy-up, but still, Astralis are bouncing back with a vengeance.
These 2 guns could actually make the difference between a good buy and a really bad one. Because they will end up with about 3,000 each, I would say. If they do end up actually saving these 2 guns, they could potentially even drop one. But the utility will not be good on these 2 players if they do end up dropping.
True.
But they still have to save this. Happy, we saw that he was getting a little bit cheeky.
If they save these 2 weapons, both MBK and Happy will be able to buy weapons and drop them for their other 2 teammates.
And Astralis have nothing to lose here.
Absolutely not. Oh, MBK's holding onto the weapon. He will be sprayed down, and that's actually quite significant. Astralis are happy to throw those weapons away for his one.
Look at that money. That's what I'm saying. NBK could have actually dropped just by a threat, I think, if had he saved that gun.
Here's the difference between saving 2 weapons and only 1.
Yeah.
I feel if they save 2 weapons, they go for a full buy. Instead, they're on upgraded pistols.
This is a quasi, pretty much.
So that's the difference that 1 weapon can make. We saw this as well in the first half.
Yep.
So Astralis looking to execute on B, just the 1 defender. It's going to be Kenny S. MBK has fallen down. Kenny S has at least bounced back, and he's going to connect a few right hooks before he falls. Kiyashima with the 5-7 cheeky frag from behind, and the bomb has been dropped. Astralis, not like this.
Not like this.
Surely not. This would be brutal to lose after you started to make such a fantastic comeback. Of course, still, when you look at the weapons, when you look at the grenades, Astralis will be firm favourites. But this is a hell of a lot closer than it should have been, and Happy's going to catch cajunb. Napping gets the 2nd kill, and Envious are going to take the map in the worst possible way from Astralis. You can't be serious, guys. What just happened?
I have no idea what just happened. Really, Astralis just threw away that round.